What's this? Seriously, it's no wonder I couldn't help but exclaim. There in front of me were the words of a termination notice. I had been told not to contact during business trips, but this was something I couldn't ignore. I hurriedly called Jack. No answer. I called over and over. Simultaneously, I sent messages, but there was no response. It was past noon. Maybe he couldn't answer due to work, but I had to get in touch somehow. After persistently calling, he finally picked up. Hello, Jack. Don't you know not to contact me during work hours? Jack immediately started yelling. I'm sorry, but it's urgent. I've received a certified letter from the company. I told you not to contact me while I'm on a business trip. Jack was not willing to listen. What if your actions ruin the contract? It seemed impossible to get him to listen. All right. I decided to keep silent about the termination notice, as a result of not contacting at all. My name is Sarah Johnson, 30 years old. I work from home as an industrial designer. Simply put, as an industrial designer, I design the shapes of products. I used to be an employee of a major company working from home, but now I've become independent and freelance. Thankfully, my work is going well, and I'm earning a decent income. At 26, I married Jack, whom I met through a friend's introduction. Even after getting married, I continued to work for the company. But when I became pregnant with our 2-year-old son, Kyle, I switched to working from home. Since then, I've been working from home while Jack worked at the office. After maternity and parental leave, I returned to work from home. Although my salary was lower than when I was going to the office, it's easier on my mind and body than commuting and leaving the child in daycare. Our company created a great system. However, Jack seemed unsatisfied with my reduced salary. Shouldn't you go back to work, even if it means putting Kyle in daycare? We've got a mortgage to pay, and with the economy being down, the company's performance isn't looking up either. Well, that's true. But if we put Kyle in daycare, we have to pay for that too. I think it would end up costing about the same. When we got married, Jack and I took out a joint mortgage to buy our new home. Renting is like throwing money away. It's better to stretch a bit and buy a place. It'll be easier in the long run. Jack, who works at a securities company and is fussy about finance and assets, would argue. Convinced by his point, I agreed, and we bought the apartment, located near a convenient station for commuting. It was a bit pricey, but we were told it would appreciate in value. Life was peaceful until I started working from home. But then Jack began to show his discontent. It seemed it wasn't so much about the money, but rather he felt it was unfair that I was the only one staying at home. If the costs are going to be the same, you might as well go back to work. Staying home all the time leads to a lack of exercise and isolation from society. Sure, there's some truth to that, but with my first child birth and now child care, it's easier on my body to stay home. Getting help is difficult, as both Jack and I are from out of town, and our families live far away. We can't easily rely on either side for assistance. When I brought up this topic, I could sense Jack's real feelings from his muttered response. It's unfair that only Sarah gets to stay home. I wish I could too, but there's a difference in our jobs. I'm a designer and Jack is in sales. I can finish designs on my computer and just send the data, but Jack's work can't be done from home. That's true, but still, it feels unfair that only Sarah gets to enjoy this nice house, he complained. Hearing these words surprised me. What do you mean enjoy alone? This is our home. Yours, mine, and Kyle's. First of all, we're both paying the mortgage. The rights should be split equally. Jack's childish remarks made me worry if he was really okay. Even as a father, Kyle was growing up well, and I was managing both child care and work from home. I also took the bold step of becoming independent as my work was well received, and I started getting offers from business contacts. However, around that time, Jack began coming home late and working more on weekends. It's a tough economy. I've got to work harder, or my sales allowance will keep shrinking, he'd say with a sarcastic sigh. Lucky are those who can work comfortably at home. No need to endure crowded trains to commute, huh? Must be nice, he'd say, implying I was lounging at home while he worked hard. But that's not the case. I'm taking care of the child and household chores while working from home. I'd often have to go out for work and other necessities. I'm certainly not just lounging around at home. Fed up, I once confronted him. Look, I'm not just playing around. Why can't you understand that? I'm paying my share of the mortgage too. Oh, is that so? Jack interrupted, his face turning red with anger. I must be such a failure, huh? Can't even get a mortgage on my own with my meager salary. I never said anything like that. Unlike the talented designer that you are, I have to desperately plead with unpleasant clients every day just to get paid. It always felt like that. No matter what I said, Jack would only take things negatively. I got so tired and eventually stopped talking to him altogether. It seemed pointless to say anything, and gradually, I started to wonder if there was any point in living together. But Jack was Kyle's father. The thought of taking away his father seemed selfish, and that held me back. Maybe because I stopped talking, Jack started behaving even more selfishly and eventually almost stopped contributing financially. It was supposed to be a joint mortgage, but now it looks like I'm paying it all by myself. It's tough, but with my current income as a designer, I can manage the mortgage and living expenses on my own. Jack probably knows this, and that's why he's behaving like that. I think if we were at risk of losing the house because we couldn't pay the mortgage, he'd contribute something. Jack is that kind of calculative person. And around that time, I started to have a suspicion. Maybe Jack had another woman and was spending his money on her. If that's the case, I have no choice but to take a drastic step. Of course, I'd make sure he pays what he owes. I wanted to find proof, but I didn't know how. The most reliable way would be to hire a detective agency, but that's expensive. If I knew the dates, times, or places to look, it would be easier. But with just a vague suspicion, I had no idea how much it would cost. Right now, I'm managing, but if Jack and I were to separate, there'd be future uncertainties. I'd prefer to save as much money as possible. Then one day, while I was feeling uneasy, a certified mail from the company arrived. Jack was on a business trip and had been gone for 2 nights and 3 days. Why would they send something like this on a day he's away? I was even more perplexed but curious. So I decided to open it, telling myself that if it was urgent, I needed to contact him immediately. I opened the envelope. What the heck is this? I couldn't help but exclaim. It was a termination notice. I was told not to contact Jack during business trips, but I couldn't just ignore this. I tried calling him, no answer. I called again and again. I sent messages too, but got no response. It was past noon. Maybe he couldn't answer because of work, but I had to get through to him. When I kept calling persistently, he finally answered. Hello, Jack. I told you not to contact me when I'm working. Jack yelled as soon as he answered. I'm sorry, but it's urgent. You see, there's this certified mail from the company. Don't contact me when I'm on a business trip. Jack wouldn't listen at all. What if you ruin a contract because of this? As he said that, I heard someone's voice in the background. Could it be? I quickly pressed the record button. Listen, I'll say it again. Don't contact me. Got it? He wouldn't listen, no matter how important it was. Okay. I decided to keep quiet about the termination notice. I ended the call. Jack was the one who didn't listen, even though it was important, and I realized that even if Jack lost his job, it wouldn't affect me much. I'm a designer with a technical skill set steadily building my career. When I started working from home, I was an employee. As an employee, I had to report daily to the company how many hours I worked and such. I needed to inform them even when I took a day off. But now, I'm independent, handling work not just from my former company, but also from other clients. I'm completely freelance. Since becoming freelance, I've been taking on a lot more work and earning several times more than when I was an employee. I could leave Jack and be just fine, but still, it would be a shame to end it like this. That call, I think the voice was a woman's. Listening carefully to the recording, I could make out what was being said. The woman didn't realize I was on the phone and was asking Jack for something. I couldn't hear exactly what it was, but she was asking for something for her birthday. Her birthday must be coming up soon. This could be a clue to finding out who Jack's with. If I can narrow down the hints a bit more, I'll consider hiring a detective. For now, I just have to be patient. The next night, Jack returned from his business trip. You know I told you not to contact me during work, right? Because of you, I almost lost a contract. I'm sorry. I wondered who he was in the middle of making a contract with. Perhaps it was a birthday purchase agreement. I smiled to myself, not showing it on my face. If you understand, then it's fine. I'm going to take a bath and go to bed, okay? I quietly watched as Jack prepared for his bath in bed. Once he was sound asleep, I stealthily checked his smartphone. As expected, it was locked. I gently took the phone, used Jack's sleeping finger to unlock it, and began to search. There they were, photos of Jack cozied up with the same woman. Not just pictures, but videos too. Some of them incriminating messages, dates, places, how they spent their time together. Everything was there. He probably thought I'd never find out about his affair. How he underestimated me. I copied the data from his phone to my computer, carefully putting the phone back. I started to plan my next move. I'll make sure he experiences hell first. To uncover the identity of the woman, I couldn't tell who she was just from the photos and chats. I reviewed the data and decided to start from there. The next day, Jack left the house as if nothing had happened. He said he was going to work, but I hoped he could still do his job as usual. After sending him off, I revisited the certified mail. It lacked detailed explanations. I didn't know what he did, but it seemed his termination was final. It was a bit troubling. If Jack lost his job, it'd be harder to make him pay alimony and child support. You can't shake down a turnip. He probably spent what he didn't bring home on that woman. I wanted to recoup at least some of it. Of course, I planned to make her pay damages too. I scrutinized the data transferred to my computer. It was unpleasant to see their intimate exchanges, but I was sure to find some clue. Social media platforms typically require a phone number for user registration. When I checked, there it was, a contact listed as Kate, trading in Jack's phone. Apparently, his mistress. Whether Kate was her real name, I wasn't sure. I picked out the necessary information and compiled the data. Now, what to do with this data? Should I hire a detective or go straight to a lawyer? Thinking it over, I had a great idea, something I saw in a melodramatic TV show. I decided to play it out myself. Hey, I think I need to go back to my parents' place for a bit. Why? It's nothing serious, but my mom's caught a bad cold, and my dad can't manage everything alone. Jack glanced at me, pretending to think it over. Probably thought it looked better not to agree too quickly. How many days are you planning to be there? At least 2 or 3 days, I replied, looking up at him as if seeking approval. Jack looked down at me, seemingly pleased with my meek behavior, and his face softened into a smile. That's being a good daughter. Go ahead. Thank you. My demeanor seemed to satisfy him. So when are you leaving? I wanted to leave today, but it's too late now, so I'll leave first thing tomorrow morning, right after you go to work. Okay, got it. Take care. Jack was unnaturally kind, probably playing into my plan. The next morning, as usual, he left the house. Despite being told he's fired, I wondered where he was going, but I needed him out to prepare, so please go ahead. I sent him off with a regretful look and got to work. I left Kyle with a trustworthy babysitter, someone who had taken care of him several times before for work and errands. I could rely on them without worry. Then I messaged Jack. I'm on the train now. Really sorry for the trouble. Planning to be back in 3 days. He replied quickly. Understood. Take care. That night, as expected, Jack brought Kate home. I hired professionals to gather all the evidence of their rendezvous. I knew the data already on Jack's smartphone would be enough for a favorable divorce, but I wanted to personally punish them both. On the first day of the trap, Jack and Kate returned home in the afternoon and didn't leave until the next evening. Then came the main event. I was a bit anxious waiting, not knowing what time they'd return, but I was sure they would. Late that night, just before the date changed, they came back. They seemed tipsy, giggling, and stumbling into the bedroom, falling on the bed tangled together. Now, welcome home. As I finished speaking, I flung open the closet door with a loud bang. Kate screamed in shock and tumbled out of the bed. In the process, she hit her head against the cabinet beside the bed. Serves her right. What? Jack hadn't fallen off the bed, but he was frozen in a bizarre position on it. He was lying on his back, arms thrust forward from his chest. It seemed he was so startled by my appearance that he accidentally pushed Kate away. That's why she flew off the bed and hit her head. Welcome home, dear. Jack lay there in his strange pose, eyes wide open, staring at me. He looked utterly ridiculous. Oh, we have a guest, I remarked as I slowly emerged from the closet and stood beside the bed, looking down at Jack with a full smile. I ignored the woman who had lost consciousness. You, who is this lady? It's quite rude to sleep in someone else's house like this. Jack was at a loss for words. Well, that's okay. Let's have a little chat, I said, pulling out my phone to make a call. Who are you calling? Oh, just someone, I replied, humming a tune as I ended the call and coldly looked down at Kate. What should we do with her? What do you mean? What should we, wake her up or let her sleep? Jack glanced back and forth between me and Kate, falling silent in apparent confusion. All right then. We don't want anything to happen to her, so let's wake her up. Hey you, I said, shaking Kate gently. Kate groaned and slowly opened her eyes. Hey, you, I repeated. Kate looked dazed for a moment before realizing her situation and freezing in shock. We're going to have a talk now, so come over here, please. Kate remained frozen and didn't respond. Come here, please. Yes, she replied reflexively after I spoke a bit more sternly. I called both of them to the dining room and had them sit side by side at the table. I really don't want to have you sitting here, but well, you've already made yourself comfortable, haven't you? The table will do, I said, making it clear there would be no hospitality like tea. Now, I want you to answer some questions. If you're honest, I might consider certain things, like maybe reducing the damages. You will the word damages turned their faces pale. So, when did it start? What? When did the two of you start this relationship? Be honest, or the damn damages will double. Jack's eyes darted around nervously, and Kate just kept blinking rapidly. Since when? Today. Today was the first time, right? Yes. A lot, really. Yes, we met today for the first time, and since you weren't here, we just got carried away. Yes, they both said, seemingly agreeing on the story. That's a lie. Ding dong. The people I had called arrived. I asked Jack and Kate to wait while I let my guests in the dining room. Two professionals, a man and a woman in suits, entered. Please, the woman took out an envelope, and the man opened his laptop. Here, take a look. The screen showed yesterday's footage of Jack and Kate entering the room, followed by the interior video. Hey, isn't this illegal filming? That's right, it's a crime, they protested while Jack and Kate were making a fuss. The detective agency explained everything properly. Indeed, secretly filming someone is voyeurism, but if it's for the purpose of catching evidence of infidelity, it's allowed. Moreover, this was a job undertaken by professionals, meaning the detectives from the agency following a request. Therefore, it doesn't constitute a criminal act. Got it. So this isn't a crime. Both Jack and Kate sat silently, heads bowed. Once again, when did it start? They didn't answer. Since when? You said today was the first time, but that's a lie, right? Well, yesterday, Jack began, raising his head to meet my eyes. I'm sorry. What I said earlier, it actually started yesterday. We drank too much, and one thing led to another. Yes, I'm sorry, they both apologized. So, you admit to the affair? Yes, we're sorry, but it was just this once. Sorry, it's true. It seemed they were trying to settle the matter with this version of the story. I told you before, if you lie, the damages will double. It's not a lie. Believe us, it's true. I brought over my laptop and placed it in front of them. If yesterday was the first time, then who are these people? I asked, showing them the photos and videos copied from Jack's smartphone, along with their social media interactions. Ah, another lie. You're taking stuff from someone's smartphone. That's a crime. Sorry to disappoint you, but this also isn't a crime. You heard the reason just now, right? Jack and Kate had nothing more to say and just sat in silence. Eventually, they resigned themselves to telling the whole story. Their affair had started 2 years ago, around the time Kyle was born. Jack said he felt neglected and lonely after Kyle's birth and listed various reasons for his actions. That's when he met Kate, and their relationship continued until now. He described it as a momentary lapse of judgment and expressed regret. Kate looked at Jack with disbelief. Understandably so. She had been showered with sweet words all this time, only to be now referred to as a mistake. Kate, with tears in her eyes, admitted the time they started their relationship, but remained silent about the rest. It seemed futile to ask anything more. I'll arrange another day to talk with both your parents and Kate's parents. I thanked the detectives, sent them away, and also showed Kate out. Could you? You leave too. Maybe stay at a hotel or something. You might catch up with Kate if you're quick. I wouldn't do such a thing. Whatever, just leave. I made sure to send Jack out as well. Later, I arranged a meeting with both our parents and Jack's. My in-laws were mortified, just kept apologizing. My parents sat in silent anger. I showed them all the evidence, including the conversation from the day I caught. So, I want a divorce. I'll take custody of Kyle and demand child support and damages. Jack protested the amount I demanded, but I refused to budge. You've been deceiving me for 2 years and brought another woman into this house. Plus, you stopped contributing to the household expenses. My in-laws were shocked to hear this for the first time. My father-in-law even tried to hit Jack, but I stopped him. I don't want to see that. If you're going to do it, please do it where I can't see. My in-laws promised to cover the damages and child support. Regarding the apartment, I decided to take payment for my share of the mortgage up until now and then leave the rest to Jack. I don't want to live in a tainted house. Just pay me my share and then do whatever you want with it. It would probably end up being sold, but selling it now would only result in a loss. Jack had no capacity to keep up with the mortgage payments. It was unavoidable. I found out why Jack was fired from his company. He had caused significant losses to a client. Not just once, but multiple times. I thought it would definitely be profitable, but every single transaction I thought was surefire turned out badly. Jack explained he felt overshadowed by my success after I became independent and started earning more. In an attempt to outdo me, Jack did something he shouldn't have, making unauthorized stock trades for his clients, causing them losses. Trying to fill the gap he created, he kept repeating the same mistakes, and things became unmanageable. Yet he believed he would surely recover the losses someday, which is why he couldn't stop. Unaware that his company had caught on, he used his time with Kate to distract himself. That day, he had lied to the company, saying I was sick and he needed to care for me. Who would think they'd send a termination notice to a house with a sick person? Who's really being unreasonable here? It's hard to believe such words are coming from someone who lied to take time off work and go on a trip with another woman. Under these circumstances, the reason for his affair after Kyle was born, you stopped paying attention to me. That's to be expected when there's a baby. Even taking care of oneself becomes secondary, let alone catering to a grown man's needs like a child. Tired and unamused by my constant attention to Kyle, he met Kate at a bar and was drawn to her. Kate was young and pretty, and she listened to everything I said with interest. He regained the confidence he had lost. They started a deeper relationship after celebrating her 20th birthday. Kate was 19 when they first met. I bought Kate anything she wanted. Her asking for things was cute. Sarah, you earn enough to buy whatever you want, so you never ask me for anything. To fulfill Kate's wishes, he stopped contributing financially to our home. The apartment has always been your place. I just slept there, so I thought it was fair for you to pay for it. I remembered him saying that. Sarah, if you became a company employee again, you'd only be home for the same amount of time. Then it would be equal. So that's why he wanted me to stop working from home and commute instead. It's truly exasperating, the excuses Jack kept coming up with. None of them made any sense, no matter how I looked at it, but he blamed it all on me. If only Sarah had continued working like before and supported me, none of this would have happened, he said. Hearing these words, even my father-in-law broke down in tears. It was just pitiful, but that's no longer my concern. Because they paid the amount I wanted doesn't mean my wounds are healed or that I can forgive them. But they agreed to pay the damages and child support for Kyle that I demanded, so I have to accept it as good enough. I also demanded separate damages from Kate. Thankfully, her parents were responsible and paid everything on her behalf. I had said that lies would cost double, but I decided against it. I have my principles. I settled the matter within those bounds. I'm sorry, Kate apologized, appearing before me with her parents, looking completely different from the drunken Kate I had seen before. She honestly talked about her past. Kate, originally from a rural area, was astonished by the stark difference when she came to the city. Her college classmates all seemed fashionable, flashy, and dazzling. Trying to keep up, she started working at a bar. That's where I met Jack. He said he wasn't getting along with his wife, that they were about to divorce. It was just taking time because of the child. I believed him. Kate seemed to have genuinely loved Jack. Jack was handsome and well paid. He bought me anything I asked for. I was happy that he listened to everything I said. That day, Jack had brought Kate to the apartment, saying they would soon live there together once I was gone. It seems he wanted to save on hotel costs, but Kate believed him. I thought we would soon live together here, and it made me happy. But then Jack referred to me as just a momentary lapse, Kate said with tears in her eyes. That's when I realized I was just being played. Her demeanor didn't seem deceitful, but I won't say I was deceived. I knew he was married and still got involved. It's my fault. I'm sorry. Kate and her parents apologized together. The truth is unclear. Perhaps Jack did have genuine feelings for Kate at some point. However, in the end, he chose to prioritize his interests. It seems that his understanding of the situation was ultimately shallow. He's someone who selfishly acts on whims, just like a child relying on his wife, then feeling neglected and unappreciated. Kate would be better off forgetting about such a man. Kate has since quit college and returned to the countryside with her parents to start over. I'll work and pay back what my parents covered as soon as possible. Although I once despised her, I now hope she finds a straight path in life and happiness. Afterward, Jack was fired from his company and sued for the losses he couldn't cover. That was expected. He lied to the company to take time off and was caught embezzling for his escapades. It wasn't just causing losses to clients. He used that money for personal enjoyment, which led to his judgment. Though he received a suspended sentence, his future is uncertain. I feel sorry for my in-laws, who were good people, but it was a deserved outcome. I've returned to my parents' home, where they help me with Kyle while I continue working. Despite the personal turmoil, my career is going well. Kyle's growth is now my sole comfort. For now, I think I don't need a man in my life, but like Kate, who's gone back to start anew, I too hope to meet someone truly trustworthy someday. I believe there's still someone good out there for me. Life is still long. It's too long to stumble over a single failure and give up. I want to show Kyle a forward-looking, resilient spirit, never to become someone who loses everything due to childish dependency like his father. For that reason, I will keep looking ahead, hold my head high, and keep walking. I will never give up on any happiness.